All right, everybody. I'm excited. When I first got this Austin America, I did that first video and it didn't run, and I knew the guy did the carb on it, and we could see this almost right away, this jet looking completely wrong, and ended up getting it fired up, but it ran really bad. It was running super rich. This packing was all messed up in here, and that's all in the first video that I did. I showed taking the carb apart, how this works, how the fuel finds its level, and all those things. But I needed jets. I couldn't fix this one. This has been destroyed essentially by somebody tightening this nut while the tube that was actually the original tube in here that actually ran inside this spring. That original tube was all twisted up and broken. So I guess this was the fix. Not a good fix. So what we're going to do, using a screwdriver, I'm realizing, what we are going to do today is install the correct jet, put this carburetor on, and see if it's going to run. I'm pretty excited because there's something special about getting a car running. Anybody who works on cars and such, I think, knows that. So we're going to get started. I got 2 jets here. The order was for 2 jets. I was lucky to find just the jets because the rebuild kit for these HS4s was, I don't know, it was something almost $200. I mean, $130 and $200, and it had a lot of stuff that I already had. Parts for the float bowl in here, all sorts of things. You know, I mean, I won't go into all of them, but it had a lot of extra pieces and gaskets, and really all I needed was the jet. So our friends on eBay, I was able to find just the jet, and here we are. So we're going to start by removing this pseudo jet, and this is the connection for the enricher. Drop the screwdriver. Like I'd said before, if you guys look, when you turn the enricher on, which is essentially the choke, you can see it drives this jet down, which actually enriches the mixture because up top there's the needle from the float, and I may end up taking that back off so we can seat it correctly, but essentially the needle that's in here that rides up and down with manifold pressure and vacuum, that needle goes in and out of the jet and dictates the mixture of the fuel coming up, being pulled up. When you enrich it, you pull the jet down, and that actually pulls it out of the needle, which makes the hole bigger, and you get more fuel. At least that is how it is supposed to work. So we are going to see what happens when we get new jets in it, or a new jet. So let's take this off. This little clip here is easy to lose, so don't do that. And then I don't think I'm going to be able to just get this out. Oh, yep, I sure can. And actually, look, right there's the needle that I was talking about. So this needle rides up and down inside of this. So it goes up and down in there with manifold vacuum. I can't really get my finger on it. Actually, you know what? You could probably see it through here. So if I open the throttle, there you go. So that's the float in there, that big round thing. I'm calling it a float. It's not really a float. The needle rides on that, and the more vacuum, the more air that's coming through here, the higher that goes, so you get more airflow as the engine's going faster. It pulls this pin back, which is the needle, which in turn comes out of the jet, which it slides into and out of, and this hole here is, its orifice size is determined by how far in this tapered needle goes. So that's what we're up against. In the last video, I kind of went through this carb, and it was in good shape. There really wasn't a lot. Oh, yeah, this is a debacle. It really wasn't a lot wrong that I could see. The previous owner had said that he had cleaned it and rebuilt it. I think you can, you know, I don't think he knew exactly the right way to go with removing and installing this jet and created some of the problem. So I'm going to remove this. It's barely tight. In the first video, I took this out because there was no fuel coming through at all. And what we found was that this packing was in completely wrong. This ferrule was up inside here. This has the little metal sealing washer on it, and I'll show you guys on the good jet what that's supposed to look like. And I had the pick conveniently ready because what's left of this packing washer after what the previous guy did to it has to come out. Yeah. So you can see this is in just absolutely horrendous shape. But it's supposed to be a sandwich where this all kind of goes together on here and forms a packing seal there, which allows the float bowl to transfer fuel up to the needle. So this is what we have today. This is our newness here. And you can see, I was promising everybody last time when I got these, you'd be able to see what it actually is supposed to look like. This can turn without twisting this up. The packing, I'm calling it a packing. It's really, I'm not sure what the right word for it is. Kind of reminds me of packing like an old water pump back in the day when they used to use rope seals on the older stuff. But it's like a packing nut that this metal washer, this guy, will actually crush as it moves down. And when you're tightening this up, this will push out, which will expand this and seal it off. And this little bit that sticks out here, there's actually a spot in there. Maybe you can make it out. I don't know. I feel like it's focusing on the wrong thing. In there's a little spot for that to go. But yeah, I also talked about how you do the whole, like, this thing here is supposed to be a certain number of flats away. We're going to turn it all the way back in so that we can adjust it properly. I do believe it's 13 flats. But, I mean, this isn't even tight. This is probably why there's no fuel coming out of the carb, because this all leaked out. Okay, so essentially this goes in there, and then the hose goes in there. It really is pretty simple. We just have to get it all right. And there's a little bit of, you hope you get the right things when you go off of eBay and you go off of parts. You're not sure. There is a tag on this. The tag says this is the right jet. It looks like it's the right jet. I was just looking at this hole here, but it goes through both sides. So this essentially is going to go up inside that needle there. And that's a nicer fit too. This was much more wiggly. And if I look at them, this orifice size is supposed to be the same, and it does look the same, but this one definitely has more wear on it. So even when this thing was all the way in, it was probably still flowing more fuel than the manufacturer intended. With that in, we should be in good position in terms of the needle here that's going up and down. Shouldn't be in any danger of that becoming damaged. I noticed this goop on here. You guys might be noticing it too. I was gonna, like, when I was first taking this apart in the last video, I'm like, man, that must be leaking gas or cracked or something. I honestly don't know why this goop is here. This goes over and holds the bowl on. There isn't any connection between the internal venturi, the passageways here. Like, there's nothing here that would connect to this, and there's nothing inside this bowl that would connect to this. So that near as I can tell, this or some version of it was leaking fuel, and maybe they didn't realize that that was this transfer tube leaking, and they wadded this stuff on here. I'm not taking it off because I don't want to create issues, and I'm not sure why it's there. It's not hurting anything. The bowl is on tight, so we're just going to leave it and let nature take its course on that. This guy here we have to get screwed in. I don't know if I'm showing this well. Maybe like this. Excuse me. So this has to go in here, and we're going to not go crazy tightening it. I think, like I even said in the last video, this is one of those things that you don't need to hoss it down. You just don't want it to leak. So whenever we get to the point where it's in but not leaking, we're going to call that good. And this can always be tightened up further on the car. This is pretty easy to get to because it's right on the bottom. So I'm making sure that everything's nice and moving. That's grabbed. And then only the final piece of this puzzle here, I know this is sort of anticlimactic in terms of the work that's being done, is just this piece. So I feel like this was something that was not right on the last iteration. This was all twisted around. So we're going to have to see how this goes. I haven't actually seen this in a correct orientation because I got the car like this. But we're going to see what we do or how this goes. This goes on there. Oh, no, look at that. That's like perfect. That's so much better aligned than on the last one where there was a big twist in this and it was twisting the jet. And the twisted jet was actually binding. So you'd put the enricher on and it would come down and then it wouldn't go back in. So that was creating, when we were trying to get it running before, all sorts of odd running behavior where the jet was just inconsistently moving based on it being bound up on this. I don't believe any of this linkage is bent or tweaked. Definitely leave a note in the comments if you see something wrong here. I'm not an HS4 expert. The MG that I have, I don't believe it had HS4s on it. In fact, I'm sure it didn't. And that was twin carbs. But it's doing its thing. Look, so when you enrich it, it's coming down. Now, that's way too much. The spec here is 13 flats. So this position here with the jet pushed all the way in, it should be maxed out in that on that needle, and basically there's probably very little, if any, area for fuel to get out. So we're going to count off 13 of these flats, because that's how they count it, to bring the jet out to a standard position. I don't know if that's going to be the right amount or not. This, again, is very easy to adjust on the car. If we see it's running really rich, we can turn it in. If we see if it's too lean and it's popping, we can bring it out. But let's start with the factory 13. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 flats. The other spec that I had seen was enriched, fully enriched. This was supposed to be like 1/4 of an inch. Now, I can see what you guys are seeing here, and that is a heck of a lot more than 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to have to see what that does. I feel like if I back this thing out to make that 1/4 of an inch, it's going to be crazy, crazy rich, just regular running conditions. So for now, we're just going to leave that. I don't really want to gamble with too many adjustments until it's on the car and I see what we're going to get. I am going to put the wrench on the packing nut. This is just finger tight right now, just to get it in so that I can tell there's a little bit of a squeeze to it. Yeah, right about there, I think is good. Yep. So I got some tension on it. If it leaks, we'll just put the wrench on and tighten it back up a little bit more. Let's just take a look at our friend, the float down here. Make sure it's riding up and down in the jet correctly. It is. It's nice and straight. Different kinds of jet needles on these. There's fixed position and there is variable position. This one's variable because the needle has some wiggle to it. I'm not sure why they made the change or when, but definitely a change made. So yeah, I'm not going to go crazy into the dynamics of this carb. I did that in the previous video when I did the walk around in the initial try. So I think what I'm going to do is reposition everything for you guys to get this back on the car so we can do a classic will it run and see if it will run with the correct jet in it. And then we'll go from there. I mean, we're going to have to determine where the oil leak is coming from if it runs and all that stuff, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. So hold on one moment and I will bring you back for installation. Okay, so I think that's a good view. I'm going to line the carb up a little bit. Gaskets are already in place from before, so we don't have to do any work on gaskets or any of that stuff. So we're just going to see. I want to see if you guys have a good enough view of this. I mean, not that you've seen the carb install video before, so we're not really reinventing the wheel here, but I do want to try to make it as interesting as I can. All right, so that's the carb going to go on. I'm just going to put some nuts on it now, and I think you could probably see, yeah, you can see the nut flange. I mean, I know this isn't like riveting stuff here, but it's that whole sense of completion, you know, come full circle from that previous video, which is, again, I don't know, I feel like this kind of stuff is why I like to work on cars. It's this, like, it didn't do anything, and now it's maybe going to do a thing, and the only way to know if it's going to do the thing is to do it. Check it out. So this is just 2 bolts, and then we have the decisions to make on hooking up the enricher and all of that. Definitely have some throttle components that we do have to hook up just because they're required. Otherwise, that throttle butterfly that you saw me opening, man, that thing just flops open. There's nothing stopping that from going to town. So we definitely want to have some gas pedal spring pressure on that. These we want to make sure are snugged up well, because a vacuum leak will basically make it seem just like it has been. So we're going to make sure these are good and tight. I'm sure there's a torque spec, and I'm sure that washer on there isn't the right one, but it's the one that came with it. So it's the right one for right now. And that's pretty good for that. We've got the fuel line, which has been expertly capped for a previous video. We're just going to slide on here. We get a screwdriver. Got to make sure we get that tight because, you know, fires and whatnot. All right, that's going to be good enough for that. And now I'm going to hook up all the fun linkage. You know, you guys saw this before. I think what I'll do, just because this is kind of a standalone video, and I got a feeling it's going to be a short one, because this is either going to be, hey, it runs, or, oh man, it doesn't run, back to the drawing board. But I definitely want to hook the enricher up, just because I think this is going to probably be hard to start without it. I just feel like the way this thing is designed, it's going to want some enrichment to get going, like an extra watt of fuel. So yeah, what I'm doing now is I know you can't see it. Maybe I'll move the camera over if I get this on so then you can see it. But I'm literally just putting the screw on that holds the enricher, which is really not, this is not the factory screw for certain. It's some sort of half-baked bolt combo here that it's got a little nylock on it, which is kind of nice because then it won't vibrate off, but it doesn't make this any easier. All right, just a couple turns on that, just so we have it. Let me move you guys over. All right. So yeah, we're essentially just working right here on the linkages, and just like before, we've got this one is the kick down. This lever is a kick down for that automatic transmission. Goes on this. Actually, I'm not even sure you can see that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it together because this ain't tons of fun anyway. Let's see here. Put that through there. Little funny cotter pin guy goes through the hole. I'm gonna probably replace little funny cotter pin guy because he's pretty loosey-goosey and I just don't want him coming off at some point. All right, so all right, we got that on. The other thing really is this clamp connection here. I think I talked about this in previous videos too. Okay, throttle linkage is hooked up. No creative editing here. Like, I'm just going to turn the key and we're going to crank on it and see what it does. You know, hopefully, if you guys see a leak, let me know. So, there's gas in the bowl. Let's see what she does. Enricher on. Neutral. Thought about it. More enricher. Too much enricher? Choke. Certainly anticlimactic. I think we're going to give it a little shot of starting fluid just to see if we can get it over the hump. I don't see any drips or leaks coming out of it. It smells real fuely though, so like maybe I think it's flooding. The starting fluid will tell us for sure whether it's flooding out or not getting enough. It does smell like it's getting plenty though, I will say. Let's see. Nothing. All right. Well, now I smell starting fluid, so we have that. I have the enricher off right now. I do think we've entered flooded territory. I don't know how much was pouring in the beginning. I'm just checking to see if there's a lot in the bottom of the bowl here. No, it's pretty dry. I would expect if it was flooded, I'd see a lot more in there. Let's go for a little bit more starting fluid, and let's see what we get. Yeah. All hopes of this thing just firing off and running have been dashed, which is kind of how this stuff works. And everybody who's done this before knows it's a process. I'm going to throw the battery charger on it, and I guess we'll just kind of check through some of the basics. I did have it apart for ignition, for the compression test. I'll go back through and double check and make sure I'm still getting spark. You know, I guess we can do that. Let me pause you, put the battery charger on it, and then we'll check for spark and just do the standard stuff. All right, so the battery charger's on it. I did check the firing order. Oh, you know what? I think it's wrong, actually. Should be 1, 3, 4, 2. 1. Oh, no, we're good. 1, 3, 4, 2. Oh, yeah, I'm not crazy. I thought it was good. All right, so I'm going to pull one out. I'm just going to roll this plug in here. I'm going to set it there. I think I can see it. I don't know if I can get you guys in there to see it. Let me turn off this light. Maybe you'll be able to see it spark or not spark. I don't know. Let's find out together. All right, so you're looking at that spark plug. I'm going to be looking too. Let's see what we got. The key is so far inside. It's really hard to do this kind of stuff and have any shot at seeing anything. Let's see here. Can I reach the key from in here? From here, maybe. How about do this? No. I think we're just going to have to check the video to be able to see. I saw spark. I'm guessing you guys saw spark too, but I think we can agree that spark didn't look amazing. It was bright. I like that part of it, but it didn't seem like it was firing consistently on one. That should have been more of like a tap, 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 you know, instead it seemed, maybe it's just this ground was no good. But we definitely have spark, so I don't have to worry that it's not sparking at all and that's the problem. I think we're just dealing with the fun of a fuel issue, I believe. Yeah, that's vacuum for that. Vacuum for that. Probably an adjustment. So next step, I mean, it didn't fire off on the starting fluid. So if it was lean, I think it would have popped off on starting fluid. It didn't do that. In fact, it did. The starting fluid actually made it worse and seemed to kill it completely. You know what we could do? We could pull a plug and see if it's wet. If we are, in fact, flooded, we should have a wet plug here. So let's just see what we have. Maybe it's wet. Maybe it's not. I hate to say it, but troubleshooting is kind of fun as long as you come up with an answer at some point. What do we got? Yeah, it's pretty wet in there, but honestly, I mean, you guys probably can't tell. It's not like loaded with fuel though, you know? Let's do that same test with this plug, and let's see what kind of spark we get out of this plug. I'll turn this off again so you guys can watch. I don't know. I mean, could be the plug, could be something else. There's a lot of things it could be. Let's see what that does for us. Hopefully I can see it through the windshield again. I can't reach the key in the center of the dash. Yeah. So what I saw there was we were sparking here occasionally, but it was sparking underneath consistently, like to this. So that's why we're not seeing the actual sparks fire off like we probably would like to see on the plug. But that plug did fire. And it's not crazy lean. So, I don't know. I don't know, folks. I think we've checked for spark and we're good. We're back to fuel. And, you know, I am certainly not a SU genius when it comes to tuning, but I do think we are going to turn that out a little more. Let's try to go with more fuel, since this doesn't really seem, plugs don't seem that wet. I mean, I would have thought flooded enough not to run at all should have been that. The other thing we're dealing with is, and you can hear it, that stupid starter, as soon as it pops once, it throws the Bendix in, and then you gotta wait. You know, none of that's ideal, but it is what we got. So, let's see. Let it sit for a bit. Give it a little bit more go-go juice, because this stuff evaporates off nice and quick, and we'll see what we get. I'm going to put it on engine boost so we can spin it over a little faster. Engine start. 90 seconds, hurry. See what it does. Interesting. All right, well, we have one cylinder going. And that's with the enricher completely off. So I'm voting for we are flooded. I am going to turn this in a few flats. Where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go 5 flats in, push the jet in a little further. Again, I'm not positive that was the right one. That's what I saw on the internet. Does seem like it's flooded though. So we just push the enricher in, or the needle in a bit further. We're still on engine start. Let's give it a couple of tries like that and see if we can get more than one cylinder going. Who knows? Zero. So what I'm going to do, because now I'm not so sure that we're at a position that is going to be good for even trying to start it, because I think we're flooded. I am going to pause this, pull the plugs, let it air out, make sure we're not all full of fuel somewhere that I can't see, and then I'm going to come back. Alrighty. I didn't really do anything except pull the plugs and let it air out for an hour or so. With the battery charger get to the point where it was happy. I pulled all the plugs out. It was definitely flooded. The plug 1 didn't look too bad when we pulled that out, but I pulled the rest of them out, and 3 and 4 were like almost dripping. So definitely have to mess with that adjustment. I don't know how many flats is enough flats, but I think that having the enricher on full and trying to fire it up, we just slugged it full of fuel, and that was the end of it. I've had cars in the past that are hard to start. Once they flood, they're impossible to start. I feel like this might be one of those. I don't know. We'll see. I dried everything off. I carb cleaned the plugs to get the soot and stuff off of them. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of adjustments and stuff like that, but let's just give it a little bit we'll give it another shot. Timing is still a little bit suspect too, because I haven't been able to get a timing light on it, because I haven't been able to get it to run long enough, but I think it's close based on how we had it running before. So yeah, I guess we'll just give it a shot and see what we get. I'm going to try to do it with just a little bit of the enricher, not a lot. I'm not going to leave it off completely because I just don't think it's going to pull enough fuel cold, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we don't flood it again. Although for you guys, it's a pretty quick turnaround. Thought about it. Oof. It's definitely thinking about it more this time. Oh. run. Well, it doesn't run good, but it ran. I'm gonna call that a victory, guys. Like, it's not running out of control like it was before. We're definitely still rich. We're getting way too many pops out of that carb, I feel like. It is out of hand. So let's turn the enricher completely off. Make sure we're completely in, the jet's completely in, and let's give it another shot. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that we don't have enough of the throttle open when the enricher's off, because the enricher does two things. One, it obviously drops the jet down, but it also opens the throttle up a bit. So like if I look at, I mean, it's quite a bit that it actually drops the throttle butterfly. So I want to try to see, let's turn this in and drive the throttle open just a hair at idle, enricher off. That way we're not over-enriching it to try to get there, but we have a little bit more air going in. Maybe that'll prevent some of the backfiring. Not sure if those are lean sputters or if those are rich sputters, but let's see what that does. So we got more air, so in theory we'll be more lean now. Runs, but it runs ugly, folks. Oof. All right. Well, I mean, I guess I can call this will it run. It runs, it accelerates a little bit, but the backfiring and the spluttering, we obviously still have a serious adjustment problem. And I think it's lean like it is right now. I could be wrong. I just normally with cars, motorcycles, lawnmowers, you get that much popping and spluttering, you're just running way too lean. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to richen it up, and we'll see what happens. You know, worst case scenario, it doesn't get any better, but maybe it does get a little better. I don't want to end the video yet because I'm kind of not done screwing around on it. I don't want you guys to miss anything. I'm going to crack this much further out. So now we got a lot of fuel going in just at idle. I'm about to open the door in here soon. It's like turn into like a gas chamber with the door closed. But let's see what that does. So that richened it a lot, and that didn't really help. So now the question is, do we have timing backfires? Are those timing backfires out of the car? Because now we've got the timing issue. As you can see, it's kind of ham-fisted troubleshooting this with, is it timing? Is it this? Is it that? If I had points, this would be so much easier, I feel like, to troubleshoot. Getting the igniter to use like a timing light to do some initial static timing, I just never had good luck with that. Might end up having to do that. I'm not sure. I do believe we're too far advanced if what we just saw is true, if that is it. So let's just take a little bit of timing. Let's retard the timing a bit and see if that changes anything. We're also, since we didn't solve our lean condition or make it any better, I'll put this back into where it was in terms of the number of flats, and we'll see what we get. All right. play with this a little bit more. Got no start there. Let's just go back a hair to where we had some start. Let's see what we get. So I'm going to go back to my initial timing mark that I was at. I did mark it, so I'm not completely shooting in the dark. Yeah, but not good. Woo. All right, well, I got a chance to kind of fool with the timing a little bit while it was running. Yeah, still a lot of backfiring out of that carb. I don't know. I would definitely love it if somebody who knows these motors better than me wanted to drop something in the comments as I'm kind of trying to figure this out. I'm obviously not done playing with it. It's just kind of late tonight. I got the jets in and I was super excited to come out and try it. And it is running and it is idling-ish. So we've definitely improved over the last iteration with the sloppy jet that was in there. But I got to do a little bit of research. You got to do a little bit more education on how to set this carb up for initial start. 13 flats seems okay. But again, all that popping and backfiring and spluttering, it's just weird, you know, like it's weird the way that it's shutting off like that. It almost seems like pre-ignition, but I don't know how that could be pre-ignition for just a handful of cylinders. So we're going to keep trying to dial it in. I do think that we've got timing problems along with it, and I'm sure you guys are all screaming at the computer. You can't set a carburetor until you know you've got your timing right. Guys, I completely agree. You're singing to the choir. I just don't, he didn't give me the original distributor. It's got this flamethrower aftermarket jobby in it. Let me show you guys what it looks like. I'm not a real big fan of any of the aftermarket stuff, but I mean, it's not all bad, but like this is like a legit flamethrower carb and a flamethrower coil. I just wish it had the original points in it. It's so much easier to mess with on these old cars, at least to get them set up initially. I'm a big fan of electronic ignition once it's running right. Like that bus is electronic ignition and it's great. It's also fuel injected, which makes it a little easier. But yeah, so I'm gonna end this video here. I don't know if I'll publish it until I have a better answer. It might be more satisfying for it to be seen running well instead of just hacking and spluttering its way into a will it run. But yeah, we shall see, and I will be back with you guys later. So I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I wasn't sure if I wanted to get this thing running better and then publish one big video, but we're already at like 40 minutes and it's already too long. I keep saying I'm going to make these videos shorter, and I still end up cutting a lot of stuff out of the process, like the nonsense poking around that I just don't think you guys would enjoy watching. But in this case, will it run? Yes, it will run. Will it run badly? Yes, it will also do that. It's I got to figure out the timing. I'm 99% sure the timing's bad. I'm going to do another set of videos where I will do mechanical timing. We'll probe the cylinder. We'll find the timing marks. We'll mark it. We'll use the timing light. I really do think once we get that set, we'll be able to have a better shot at tuning this carburetor up, which I'm sure is just going to be persnickety and we'll get. But that'll be a second video. I'm going to get this one posted. So thanks for watching. Definitely leave me comments. Like I love reading everybody's comments. I'm sure there's people out there that know more about these cars than I do. If you have any words of wisdom as I'm trying to navigate this, I would love to hear them. And like and subscribe. I mean, subscribers are great. I got a lot of other videos planned. I've got a lot of random stuff around here, like the bus and the ferret and the ambulance. And I've got a military heater in this garage that I have to break down because it's getting warm out soon. So they got all kinds of random things. So if you subscribe, you'll be able to check those things out as I post them. I've been posting a lot too. Like I'm trying to get videos out every few days just because it's kind of the cadence I work at. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.